For the headlines, 11 Filipino crew of True Confidence safely arrives to Philippines. Gabriela Partelis supports Tessa Luz Reyes Sevilla and urges Armed Forces of the Philippines to remove Officer Ranulfo Sevilla. Pastor Apollo Quiboloy continues not to show in the Senate inquiry by Senator KRIZZA Hontiveros despite the show cause order. Government agencies urges to explain on the viral resort in the middle of Chocolate Hills in Bohol. Temporary aid port for Gaza victims undertaken by United States. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am KRIZZA Lopez and this is Eurotv News Thread. Details of the headline: following repatriation due to the missile attack, the 11 Filipino crew of True Confidence carrier are finally back home in the Philippines. More of this news on Mia Layagin's report.
The 11 Filipino crew members of MV True Confidence have safely and successfully landed into the Philippines yesterday afternoon. Representatives from migrant workers, foreign affairs, social welfare, and health departments welcomed the arrival of the Filipino crews at NAIA Terminal 3 on 5:22 p.m. on Tuesday. The returnees included 10 unharmed Filipinos, while the 11th arrived on a wheelchair after sustaining minor injuries during the Houthis rebels' missile attack last March 6. Upon arrival, the 11 crews received the assistance package from the government to further ensure their safety and welfare now that they are back home. DOH provided the returnees with on-site medical and physical check-up, as well as psychiatric assessment, 50,000 pesos financial assistance and reintegration support from DMW, 20,000 pesos livelihood aid from DSWD, and scholarship and training vouchers provided by TESDA. Meanwhile, in a press briefing early Tuesday, DFA Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega has also shared the updates regarding the two other Filipinos who are still recovering in a Djibouti hospital after severe injuries from the attack.
Two are still in the hospital, as mentioned. They are recovering, although the injuries were grave. An ordinary seaman who suffered facial burns, severe facial burns, and the cook who had to have his leg amputated. However, this time the Department of Migrant Workers, under the all of government approach, is working with the Manning Agency for their repatriation, which will have to come later in the week.
In regards to the remains of the two Filipinos who died during the missile attack, De Vega stated that the retrieval operation is still ongoing as the True Confidence carrier is still yet to be recovered.
Deceased seafarers, and again the Philippine government, headed by President Marcos, reiterates our sincerest condolences to the families. Their bodies have not yet been recovered, partially because the ship was still burning as of a few days ago. But the Manning agencies also report that they are now trying to bring the ship to a nearby port where it will be salvaged and hopefully the remains recovered and eventually to be brought home to the Philippines.
This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
Following the revelation of Teresa Luz Reyes Sevilla against her husband Ranulfo Sevilla after being nominated for a higher position, the Gabriela Women's Party List expressed their solidarity for Tessa Sevilla, saying abusive spouse inside the military ranks should be suspended from its post. More from this report.
In a recent development, Gabriela Women's Party, represented by House Assistant Minority Leader Representative Arlene Brosas, has expressed its steadfast solidarity with Tessa Luz Reyes Sevilla. Reyes Sevilla courageously came forward to oppose the promotion of Army official Ranolfo Sevilla against allegations of abuse. Representative Arlene Brosas emphasized the significance of addressing violence against women and children, particularly within the military ranks. She stated that the case of Officer Sevilla serves as a stark reminder that violence against women and children is prevalent within the ranks of the military. Furthermore, Representative Brosas urged the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, to take decisive action by dismissing Officer Sevilla from his position. She highlighted the urgency of the situation, stating that Sevilla should be suspended from the position. The lawmaker then stressed out the possibility of the suspect to abuse other people under his power. Representative Brosas emphasized the need for the stronger measures to combat violence against women and children, particularly when perpetrated by individuals in positions of authority. She stressed the detrimental impact of abuse of power to its victims. In line with their commitment to seeking justice and accountability, Gabriela Women's Party stands in solidarity with Tessa Luz Reyes Sevilla and all the survivors of domestic abuse. They echo Reyes Sevilla's call for justice and accountability, particularly regarding the systematic issues perpetuated among uniformed personnels. This statement underscores the importance of addressing and rectifying instances of violence and abuse within the military, ensuring the safety and well-being of all individuals, especially those vulnerable to such injustices. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, supporters of self-proclaimed appointed Son of God, Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, including former President Rodrigo Robo Duterte, gathered for a prayer rally which shows support for the controversial religious leader. Vanessa Cleopas tells us more.
In the middle of several criticism of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy and the complaints and cases he is faced with, his supporters held a prayer rally which was attended by well-known personalities, including former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. But instead of expressing support for Quiboloy, his speech was considered amending the Constitution. Carrying two papers containing the Philippine Constitution, former President Duterte faced thousands of Quiboloy supporters. That is to show the real reason why the current administration wants to amend the Constitution to have a term extension in the presidency of the country, which former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. also wanted to do during his term. Duterte explained that the amendments to the 1987 Constitution would bring a miserable life to Filipinos. It is also said that the provision that will be changed in the Constitution are just a reason to open the amendments to move the current law and have a re-election in the presidency.
Ito ba dalawang papel? Ito yung konstitusyon ngayon. Bantay kayo dito, bantay kayo dito. It would have a long and lasting, miserable life for you all. Ito, excuses na lang ito. Kagaya nito ni Marcos noon sa tatay niya. Ang puntarya talaga nila, ito, dito, ito. Yung term extension. Noon po. Kung may galawin man ang konstitusyon, isa lang. Pahabain lang talaga ni Marcos kung anong ginawa ng tatay niya, gagawin niya. Basta panahon ng Marcos, putang inap, napakialaman talaga yung konstitusyon. Pinapahaba yung trabaho. Huwag kayong pumayag na ganon. Kababuyan yan.
The former president also said that if the amendments to the Constitution is opened, it is possible that every Filipino will lose the right to vote in every election and instead, only the parliament can choose the next president of the country because they want to make the Philippines as the presidential republican type of government.
Wag na wag ninyong pumayag na mangyari yan. Kasi mapalitan nila ngayon, walang siguro ko mapalitan sunod na eleksyon. Kasi ang gusto nila, presidential republican type of government. Ang Pilipino, tayong lahat dito, may isang boto para sa presidente. Ngayon, ang gusto nila itong Congress, tutunawin nila, gawain nilang parliament. Ang magboto sa presidente o prime minister, ang tawag na dyan hindi presidente, prime minister na, ang mga assemblyman o kaya yung mga congressman ngayon, hindi na kayo makaboto. Nada. No more.
Meanwhile, at the Laban Kasama ang Bayan prayer rally, several personalities also showed support for Quiboloy such as Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Bongo, former Presidential Advisor Panelo, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa and other allies of the former president, where they also expressed their respective support for the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, Quiboloy. Vice President Sara Duterte will be seen at the rally but she did not make a speech. He has already expressed his support for Quiboloy, saying there must be a fair and just law enforcement regarding the issue Quiboloy is facing, as well as Sunshine Media Network Incorporated or SMNI against witnesses who conceal their identity. Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
Despite of having a show cause order signed by Senator KRIZZA Hontiveros and Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, Pastor Apollo Quiboloy stand firm not to show in the Senate inquiry. Senator Hontiveros claims that the refusal to the subpoena and show cause order of the pastor reflects no respect to the Philippine government. Vanessa Cleofas has more details.
Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Pastor Apollo Quiboloy continues to defend not attending the Senate hearings regarding the allegations involved. That's why the show cause order of the Senate has submitted to him to voluntarily appear the Senate. If he fails, according to Senator Hontiveros, he can be arrested through arrest warrant that may be issued against him.
Kaya bakit nag-i-insist si Quiboloy na wala siyang obligasyong humarap? No? Sino ba siya para sabihin iyon? At kailangan umabot pa sa ganitong punto na may show cause order pa para hindi siya maaresto.
That's what Senator Risa Hontiveros asked Quiboloy not to attend the invitations of the Senate to appear in the committee hearing to defend himself against the issue he is facing. According to Hontiveros, if Quiboloy early attend the hearing, they might not issue any show cause order. The senator further insisted that Quiboloy has no acceptable reasons for not attending the hearing being conducted and confronting those who testify against him regarding human trafficking and the abuse of women and youth. He said that his continued disregard for what the Senate said, especially the invitations to him, only shows disrespect for the government institution.
That really shows the highest disrespect for the Senate as an institution, na ibang mga institusyon ng gobyerno at iba't ibang mga mamamayan ay nagpakita na ng respeto dati. Siya yung pinakawalang respeto sa nakita ko pa sa tanang buhay kong nagtrabaho dito sa Senado.
The senator also said that Quiboloy cannot excuse his fear for his security if he attends the Senate committee hearing because they can assure his safety just like any other individual. She also added that if Quiboloy excuse his medical condition, it won't work, especially since it is used by people who don't want to deal with it properly. However, Kibuloy continued to maintain that he would not appear in any hearing that would be held against him, especially since it is not fair. Meanwhile, it can be remembered that the Senate gave Kibuloy 48 hours to allow him to present himself to the Senate, and if he fails, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri himself will sign the arrest warrant against the pastor. Kibuloy announced that the debate between him and Hontiveros in any place, let alone inside the Senate or Congress. He is also said to be ready to face all the issues thrown at him. So far, according to Hontiveros, Kibuloy's camp has received the show cause order filed against him. Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
More stories up next when newsfeed returns only here on Eurotv News.
Init! Umuulan na naman!
Opisyal nang kinumpirma ang pagtama ng El Nino sa Pilipinas. Ang El Nino ay maaaring magdulot ng biglang buhos ng ulan na susundan ng matinding sikat ng araw. Pangunahing dahilan nito sa pagsulpot ng iba't ibang karamdaman. Tandaan, ang kahandaan ay nagsisimula sa taong may alam. Mas protektado ang pamilya kung tayo ay handa at listo.
While El Nino phenomenon continues to prevail till May 2024, the Education Department has authorized the school heads to suspend classes due to extreme heat. More details on this report.
The Department of Education has given school heads the authority to suspend their schools due to the hot weather caused by El Nino. According to DepEd Assistant Secretary Francis Bringas, DepEd will reiterate the policy related to class suspension in public schools in the country. As the drought continues to worsen in the Philippines, it is said that the school heads has the authority to decide what intervention activities for the time the students missed school days. Several provinces have suspended classes since Monday due to the high heat index that reached 41 degrees. One of them is Negros Occidental, which temporarily stopped classes at all levels. Also, classes from elementary to high school in Bacolod City were suspended to prevent students, teachers, and other workers to experience heat exhaustion or heat stroke and heat cramps. Meanwhile, in Metro Manila, some schools prepared water dispensers and electric fans to reduce the heat. Apart from class, outdoor activities that could harm students and teachers are also suspended. Bringas insisted teachers and students are allowed to wear more comfortable clothes inside the school apart from their uniform. According to Pag-asa, El Nino may last until the month of May 2024 with a 74% chance of transitioning to El Nino Southern Oscillation or ENSO from April to June 2024. This is KRIZZA LOPEZ for Eurotv News.
The Environment and Natural Resources Department has already issued a notice of violation towards the project proponent of the viral resort inside the premises of the tourist destination Chocolate Hills in Bohol, while lawmaker from the upper chamber urges the related agencies to explain the construction of the said resort. Let's get into the details with Henry Nicolas.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR has already issued a statement on the viral resort in Chocolate Hills, Bohol. The DENR says it also already gave a notice of violation to the project proponent in January for operating without an Environmental Compliance Certificate or ECC. In the said topic, a video showing a swimming pool built amongst the world-renowned Chocolate Hills has caused a stir on social media. The original footage has gone viral and has drawn heavy flack from netizens who questioned why the government allowed the resort's construction. The Bohol Environment and Management Office and the Provincial Environment and Natural Resources were earlier directed to conduct a probe on the issue. They also issued a temporary closure order to the said resort that is established in the middle of Chocolate Hills. The DNR issued a statement after social media users raised concerns about the impact of the resort's development on Chocolate Hills, a protected area known for its unique geological formations. Senator Nancy Binay slams the construction of resort and want the DNR, PAMB, BEMO, PENRO, and the LGUs to explain as to why, even with Chocolate Hills protected status, construction permits continue to be granted. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Stories around the globe, the United States conducted a mission to establish a temporary aid port in the territory of Gaza to provide assistance to the victims of the conflict in the area. Dan Villegas for the report.
Vessels of the United States collaborated to establish a temporary aid port for the victims in Gaza. The 4 naval vessels of the U.S. Army, carrying around 100 soldiers and equipment for setting up a temporary dock along the Gaza coastline for much-needed aid delivery, departed from their base in Virginia. The first naval vessel, a large gray-painted watercraft known as the Logistics Support Vessel, slowly departed from the pier at Joint Base Langley Eustis while playing the Imperial March from Star Wars on its loudspeaker system. This was followed by 3 smaller naval vessels, which would also take approximately 30 days to travel to the Eastern Mediterranean for the port mission. This is a part of the U.S. effort to bolster aid for Gaza while Israel's land delivery of aid is delayed. According to U.S. Army Brigadier General Brand Hinson, the new facility, which will consist of an offshore platform for transshipment of aid from larger to smaller vessels and a pier for transporting it to the shore, is expected to be operational within the 60-day mark. He further stated that if the U.S. becomes fully engaged in this mission, it would potentially support up to 2 million meals or 2 million bottles of water per day on the shore for Gaza. U.S. officials also stated that this effort would not involve boots on the ground in the country, but American soldiers would approach the territory while constructing the pier, which needs to be anchored along the coastline. This is Dan Villegas for Eurotv News.
To give us more story in the world of entertainment, he's Angelica Galvez.
Let's step into the world of entertainment with the latest news and updates. For the Red Velvet fans out there, Red Velvet member Wendy presents her second extended play titled Wish You Well. She hopes that she gives bright and positive energy to her listeners.
In her YouTube live held an hour before the release of his second EP, she said that we can be tired. For those who need something new, she hopes that they can get strength from her new song. Wendy said that she just wanted to give people a sense of freedom and positive energy from her song. She also shared that the tone of her song is different from the genre of her previous EP. It also shared that she pitched many ideas for the song's music video. Meanwhile, it can be recalled that Wendy debuted in 2024 as a member of Red Velvet. She is known for songs such as Red Flavor and Psycho. Last December, Wendy visited the Philippines and performed at the New Year Countdown celebration in Taguig with her bandmates Irene and Sulgi.
And that's the latest news for tonight. I am Angelica Galvez. Back to you, KRIZZA.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit Eurotvph.com for more news and information. You may also catch our broadcast live in our social accounts and via Pinoy Extreme channel. Once again, this is KRIZZA Lopez on Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.